You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Business owners and entrepreneurs, many of us believe that cash flow or marketing tactics are the primary risks in business. Our guest today absolutely disagrees, but believes that being an entrepreneur is actually a calling. You either have it in you or you don't. There is no alternative. Therefore, the most significant risk in your business that you'll ever face is you, the founder. To talk about bottlenecks and how we can overcome that is Laurent Notin. He is the Bottleneck Coach for Laurent Notin TMI. And we're so excited to have him on today to tell us about his journey. Laurent, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Nice introduction.
Hey, thank you so much. 95% of it was written by you. So of course you like it, and that's okay. I think it's a great description about what you do and how you help people. But tell us more about your entrepreneurial journey. How did you first start with this business? Did you have a lot of experience either in coaching or business practices, or did you just decide to learn it and master it on your own?
Yeah. So the way it happened is I live 24 years now abroad. I'm French originally, and 24 years ago I went to Southeast Asia initially for 9 months, and I've stayed 20 years. And what happened is that I started pretty early running companies for others, small companies, and I really enjoyed it from the beginning. I was not an entrepreneur, but I was like sitting in the seat as the main person because it was like small businesses. I had to do a little bit of everything. And then I experienced also like growth, I experienced failures, and I was always surrounded by entrepreneurs. My best friend is an entrepreneur. My father used to be an entrepreneur himself. Reaching the age of 40, and I was like, damn, if I don't do anything now, I would never do it. And I think it's a calling, but sometimes it takes a bit of time before you answer that call. I was always a bit afraid. But then I decided to do it just because of that age barrier. I was like, okay, let's do it. It took me a year. I thought, okay, what is it that I really like doing? What is it that I enjoy the most? And then I realized after the 1 year process that what was making me very powerful, very enthusiastic was that when I was mentoring, coaching myself, giving advice to people. I've always given advice to people for free, even if they don't want it.
They
Which is,
didn't ask for it, but you were going to give
yeah,
it anyways.
yeah, but don't do that. And so I thought I'm going to become a coach. It just makes sense. And I'm going to become a coach for entrepreneurs because I understand them. I speak the language. I sat in their seats. I didn't take any certification to become a coach. I remember I wrote down what I thought a coach is, or what a coach does, and how I should perform a coaching session. And then I went online to compare with my notes, and it was pretty close. So I was like, okay, let's start. And that is the beginning of my journey as an entrepreneur. And that was back in October 2017.
Wow, that's fantastic. For someone to actually take a step back and look at what do I enjoy doing? What
Mm,
passion do I have? What am I good at? And you came on this conclusion of the coaching and consulting. You were offering advice, whether it was asked for or not. And that's okay.
yeah.
People sometimes need to hear that sort of advice, but you were willing to give that knowledge and help them
Yes.
out for free. But now people are paying you in order to help remove the bottleneck
Yes.
themselves within the
Yes.
business. What are there certain industries that you work best with or businesses who are experiencing certain symptoms, entrepreneurs that typically the best fit for you?
Yeah. My typical clients are mid-career entrepreneurs. So they're not new entrepreneurs. They have, I would say, maybe 5, 6 to 7 years experience. They've already experienced some success. They have a team. They got some revenue, nice revenue, enough to be living and not having any financial issues. But they reach a point where they're like plateauing and they are looking for the next step, that next level of growth, but they're not sure where to start. They know something is wrong, but they can't pinpoint what it is exactly. And this is where I come in. But also another important aspect is the fact that they have tried self-experimentation. It has worked with limitations, but they know they need something else. And why not coaching? But this is when I come. My job is to show them that the next step is really about tackling their bottlenecks. because it always starts with you, the founder, shifting your perspective so that you can unlock the situation where you're stuck, and then your business can move forward again.
Absolutely. And it can be tough and a struggle for a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs. We want to
Yeah.
try and do things on our own. And
Yeah.
sometimes we struggle to make that happen. But we need to learn when it's okay to reach out for help. I mean, we have
Okay.
colleagues and friends and mentors. We need to utilize coaches and consultants more often, especially when we're struggling on what path do we take, what direction, what action steps do we need to take. And for
Yeah.
someone to come in and provide clarity, it can be so helpful for the business owners. You talk about entrepreneurs being the heart of the business, basically
Mm.
the engine that kind of runs the business. But then that actually becomes a bottleneck for the business owners. What are things that they can do to start removing themselves as that main driver, the main engine of their business?
The thing, when I say the main engine, I'm also talking at every stage of the growth of the company. Because as the founder, you have the vision, you give the tempo, right? So you're always at the heart of the business, which is why it's so easy to become the bottleneck. At the beginning, for instance, when you do it, you do everything by yourself because it's so small. So yeah, that's easy to become the bottleneck because you do everything by yourself. Now, as a company grows, you should work on detaching yourself as much as you can from operations, putting people in charge of daily operations so that you can focus more on strategy and empowering your people. So every business is made of people. With tackling bottlenecks, the first thing that you need to understand is that you are the bottleneck, which means you must realize that something is wrong with you, right? So that you can actually act upon it. So, for instance, let me give you a simple example. I was talking today with a female entrepreneur, and she was telling me about how in 2018, she was in Houston and there was like this big hurricane, Harvey, I think. And she lost like overnight 60% of her revenue, which is huge, right? Now, she could have stayed there in that state. She could have said, oh, damn, and now it's over. But she decided not to. She decided to actually take that as an opportunity to change her business model, to pivot. And that's what I'm talking about when you need to realize and do something about it. It starts with you and ends with you. It starts with a shift in your mindset. And so if she had decided to not do anything about it, and the business would have died with it, the people that were in the business, I think she had like 15 staff at that stage. But because she did exactly the opposite, she took that as an opportunity. She shifted her mindset. At the end of 2019, she had more than doubled her revenue.
That's incredible.
Yes, just because of that mindset shift. But again, it cannot happen if you do not acknowledge that it comes from you. Because even though your staff could tell you, hey, here's an opportunity, but if you refuses to see it, at the end of the day, you're the one making the decisions. If you refuses to see it, then nothing will happen. I'll give you an example. I live in Finland. My first mobile phone was a Nokia. How did Nokia miss the smartphone revolution? I don't know exactly what happened, but I'm pretty sure part of the answer is because of complacency, because they refused to see what the market was telling. And I'm sure people were telling the management, hey guys, we are late. And it did not happen. Mindset shift. That mindset shift did not happen.
That is so important. And the story that you shared about overcoming the obstacles after losing 60% of your business, that is a
Yeah.
huge, huge blow to any business owner and entrepreneur to have the passion and drive to continue going forward, but on a different path, the shift in the mindset. Look at where that business is today and how important it is for us to overcome the obstacles when they present themselves. And what you kind of described reminded me of some of the symptoms of the
Mm.
bottleneck. What are some of these symptoms of the bottlenecking that happens within a business?
Yeah. The two biggest one, which are linked with each other, is when everything is tied around you, you're ending up making all the decisions. So you're not delegating enough. And that is combined with the inability to let go. You can say, yes, I want to delegate. You may have difficulties to do the action of delegating because you're like, no, I want to keep that for myself, you know? That's the
It's
thing.
our baby. We can't let
Yeah,
it go.
but exactly. And at the end of the day, if I give it to someone, I'm going to have to train that person. I am not sure the person is going to do it the same way I want to do it. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it under my desks. These are the two biggest bottlenecks. I have a tool called the Bottleneck Index, which is like in 2 minutes, it's a quiz that people can take. And I go around like the 4 or 5 main bottlenecks. Number one and number two, always delegation, inability to let go. I'm not surprised because, every business is made of people. If you want the business to grow, you have to detach yourself, which means that at one point you need to go to build something that goes beyond yourself. And to be able to do that, you have to go. Yeah. It's so difficult to do because it's so counterintuitive as entrepreneurs. Another one which I see often is lack of clarity in direction. I need to know, what should I do next? Am I going left, right, straight? I'm not sure. And often that is due to the fact that you have lost purpose. You started your business for a reason, and usually that reason because you want to solve a problem that exists and you want to create an impact. All entrepreneurs crave impact. They want that utopia of changing the world. I want to empower people. I want to empower entrepreneurs so they can thrive. Because I know that when they are empowered, they can go as far as to the moon, right? That is my utopia. That gives me a direction. If I'm talking to someone who is not ready to be empowered, then I am going to not have the conversation because I can't quote unquote save that person. I can't save everybody. But that's the thing with every business. Simon Sinek talks about why or purpose. That's so important. You're a DJ yourself, a wedding DJ. That I'm sure there's a purpose behind it. And when the business grows, because you're busy doing so many things, because you're busy grabbing opportunities here and there, because you have to make money also to pay for the bills, sometimes you lose track of the initial idea, your DNA. And this is where you lose clarity of direction. And again, to be able to tackle it, you first need to understand that, you first need to acknowledge that it is a problem, that you have lost clarity. And that it comes from you. Because again, here, as the entrepreneur, this is your baby. You gave it the vision. This is your vision.
Absolutely. That is such a challenge for us business owners. We are going into business wearing so many different hats. And if we don't know how to do something, we have to learn, or we need to pay for a service or find a team member where we can delegate that task to. But again,
Yeah.
the concern becomes, is that person going to do just as good of enough of a job as we would ourselves, or what else could the entrepreneur be assigned to after delegating tasks? Now,
Yeah.
for many of us, we weren't born as natural leaders or have experience with delegating tasks to our team
Mhm.
members. Are there any steps we could take as entrepreneurs and business owners to help us get clarity as far as what tasks we should be delegating, or what's the first role we should hire for
Mm,
when we're solopreneurs or we're starting to grow?
yeah. First, I would say you mentioned the concern. It shouldn't be a concern because you don't want to hire people who are going to do the same job as you. You want to hire people who are going to do a better job than you. That's why delegation is about finding those people who are better than you. Yes, as the entrepreneur, you must be aware of many things. Like you said, you have to wear many hats. If you want to build your financial department, you need to understand a little bit about financial management. If you want to build an HR department, you need to understand a little bit about HR so that you can hire the right people or find the right people who can help you hire the right. So you need to understand everything, but that doesn't mean you have to do everything yourself. So that's the first thing. See that as an opportunity to take your business to the next level by hiring the right people. Shift in mindset again. Now, the other big shift in mindset, and I'm not the only one to talk about it. I didn't invent anything. I read a lot of books and listened to a lot of entrepreneurs, but this is what Jim Collins refers to: first who, then what. We have the tendency to do exactly the opposite. We are going to recruit based on technical skills. So let's say, I don't know, you're looking for a salesperson. You're going to start by writing down all the type of salesperson you need, the technical skills, etc., etc. But if you ask your team, if you ask anybody in your team and you do that exercise, what are the criteria of the ideal candidate? 80% of the answers they will give you are soft skills, human skills, interpersonal skills. But if you look at most of the job descriptions and job announcements, they focus on technicals. And that's why Jim Collins talks about first who, because first you need to find the right people for the bus, the right people in terms of attitude, in terms of behavior, in terms of spirit, in terms of values, people who share the same values so they can be aligned with your why and they can also endorse your company culture, right? And then once you find those people, then you can assign them a seat. You can tell them, all right, well, I think I'm going to put you there. I'm going to put you in sales because you're really good at that and that. And well, you don't have any experience in sales. Let's just train you because you can always train technical skills. If people are the right people and if they see that they would perform the best in sales, for example, to go back to my example, they will accept it. They will do it. That's the second thing. Third, you also need to look at yourself. And often when I do that exercise, I ask my clients to make a list of all the things that they do. And most of the time they surprise themselves. They're like, gee. And the idea is to get rid of operations so that you can spend more time in strategic thinking, in dealing with people, in building processes. And so the first thing you should start by is delegating all those operational tasks. Here's a trick. Don't only delegate the tasks, also delegate the decision-making power, because there is no point of hiring people and delegating tasks to them if you do not empower them with decisions. Because otherwise you go back to being bottleneck because everything is tied around you to making all the decisions. And
Such great advice here for us entrepreneurs who are kind of struggling for that clarity and what tasks do I give to my team members and how do I even grow a team? You laid out the perfect foundation and template for business owners and entrepreneurs to follow. And we appreciate that. I heard a really good joke a couple hours ago. Something you said made me think of it was the mindset. It's the mindset. And the joke was how many coaches or consultants does it take to change a light bulb? And they say it takes just one coach, but the light bulb really needs to want to change. And I think that's important. It's looking inwards on ourselves as the business owner, entrepreneur, wherever we're at in life, we need to be willing to change. And it's that mindset strategy. And then again, what is the goal outcome? What are you trying to achieve? And then only then can you understand the roadmap on how to get where you want to go. So that was a little joke I wanted to share.
No, it's so true. I often tell my clients, I don't do anything. You do all the work. I'm just a guide. I ask you questions. I got the easy job.
Man, this coaching and consulting seems like a good deal.
But it's so true. When I have my sales calls, this is actually something that I check. Are they ready to be coached? And a question that I always ask is, on a scale 0 to 100%, how committed are you to go through whatever we go through? I'm looking at minimum like 90%. Because otherwise, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because you're not committing to the change. Because I'm going to ask you some tough questions. And this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those questions that really bother you. If you tell me, Laurent, this question, you know what? I want to kill you right now. I'll be like, yeah, great.
Use that fire, use that passion.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to press a bit more. So you have to be ready to do the work, to do that inward work you were talking about. So yeah, you have to be ready to be coached. Otherwise, it is not going to work at all.
Absolutely. Now, for those who are interested in learning more about what you do, who you are, and getting connected online with you, we're going to have some links available in the description. But do you mind sharing those verbally with us? Best places to get in contact with you and connect?
Absolutely. You can follow and find me on LinkedIn. This is my go-to social media platform. Just type my name, Laurent Notin. I'm also on Instagram. Same, Laurent Notin. then you can go on my website, laurentnotin.com, where you will find Bottleneck Index I was talking about, as well as my ebook, which is called 8 Tactics to Thrive as an Entrepreneur and Stop Being the Bottleneck in Your Business. And also you can have a newsletter, which you will also be able to find on my website.
That is fantastic. Now, for those of us entrepreneurs, whether we're just starting out or we've been in business for
Yeah.
5, 10, 20 years already, is there a piece of advice or a YouTube channel, a podcast, a book, other than your own? I'm going to get your
Sure.
book, but other books that you would suggest or recommend to people just to kind of give them that direction and clarity, that push they need to get to the next level. And I suppose your own book could be okay too.
I mentioned Jim Collins, that book, From Good to Great. This is not the full title. This is just a partial title, but honestly, it's based on years and years of research, why some companies are just good versus why some companies become great. And it's really powerful. And this is a book that I would always recommend to any entrepreneurs and to my clients to read. Listen to many different podcasts. I don't have one in particular. But in terms, I also like to go on, watch some TED Talk videos,
Mhm.
anything related to leadership. I like, of course, mental fitness is always a very interesting for me. And like I said, I'm a fan of Simon Sinek. Start with Why and the Infinite Game book also are books that I would also recommend.
I love that. Now, Lauren, what is on the path and goal planning sheet for you for 2024? What are you hoping to achieve? Are you kind of keeping with the same strategy you've been doing and you're happy with where you're at? Are you looking to grow yourself or certain industries you're looking to work with going
Yeah.
forward?
I want to do more of what I do. So more coaching, more consulting. So I'm a solopreneur. We are never a solopreneur. I use a virtual assistant. She's great, by the way. So if you're a solopreneur, if you don't have a virtual assistant, you need to change that. But I don't want to build an empire. you know, I want to continue like more of a lifestyle business, having something that enables me to enjoy my life, right? But at the same time, making enough money so I can enjoy a comfortable life. What I need to do for this year is more like stabilizing my business. So I need to find ways, for instance, working on my marketing to get more people reaching out to me. I
Just
think this
getting
is the main issue of every entrepreneur is there when it comes to marketing.
absolutely. They're looking for more business and
Yeah.
specifically more consistency within the marketing that they employ. We can run a special offer or get people excited about a certain event, but unless we can carry that consistently, our income just fluctuates too much where
Yeah.
we can't really guarantee or secure that financial freedom. We have all the time in the world. We have a lot of time freedom, but sometimes we're stuck working. As you mentioned, having a VA can be so helpful, but it's finding that right balance between are you looking to scale, build a team, that empire you're talking about, or is it just something to make yourself a comfortable living while helping others?
Mhm.
And I think there's a perfect balance between the two on whichever strategy or path that you want to take. Very excited for 2024 for you and all your goals. Anything else you'd like to share with our audience for those who are listening?
Yeah. Every time I'm on a podcast and they ask me that question, I always give the same answer. And that's another bottleneck, actually. I would highly recommend that people, entrepreneurs especially, spend more time taking care of themselves. And here I'm talking about health, physical and mental. Being an entrepreneur is like being a professional athlete. And this is a race of your life. So act like a professional athlete would. Train, be consistent, like you said, consistency over intensity. And very, 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 very importantly, take time to recover. The best professional athlete, they understand that it's important to recover because this is when your muscles grow, but this is also when you take a rest and you don't burn out. And so take time to take care of yourself, make it a priority, because if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of your business? How can you take care of your families, your loved ones? How can you take care of your people?
Absolutely. Lauren, thank you so much for the direction, the clarity, the insight, and everything that you've shared with us today. And all of us entrepreneurs out there, I know we are going to be excited to take some action off of the advice that you shared with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on all of your success and future endeavors. Can't wait to see what is in store for you, Laurent.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Chris.
Absolutely. Thank you. And for those who want to find out more, again, check out the description links in the show notes below. There will be options for you to connect with Laurent and all of his social media links. And we'll probably get access to his quiz as well to help you figure out what bottlenecks are happening in your business. Thanks again, and stay tuned for next week's episode.